AITAH to ask my husband to block his female friend, who warned him not to marry me. Original post, January 29, 2024. I 26, female, want my husband 27, male to immediately block one of his friends Kyla 27, female, he thinks I am overreacting, and wants opinions from some cool-headed people on if I am just acting crazy, or this is something that would cross the line for you. My husband has a group of 8 friends he is close with since his college days. Kyla is one of his friends. When my husband and I started dating, he introduced me to all of them, and everyone was very friendly. I used to hang out with them frequently. I am an introvert, and so is my husband. I would always ask him to spend time alone, as being in social settings just saps all my energy away. His friends, and especially Kyla, always made it a point to tell me how he hangs out with them less after he started dating me. Kyla also had a weird energy around me. If I was with my husband, she would be the most friendliest with me. However, as soon as he walked away, she acted like I did not exist. My husband hates to be touched by others, we both are ND, but Kyla would always tease him by trying to hug him, mess his hair, and so on. I never felt she was flirting with him, but just teasing him to make him annoyed. Overall, she just feels like a person who has a severe social boundary issue. We got married 2 years ago, and things have been great between us. Last week, we had our second marriage anniversary and invited a bunch of people. His friends stayed back after all the guests left, and we were all drinking and chatting. One of his friends, Jen, became a bit tipsy and started complimenting me on how beautiful our house is, how I care for my husband, and how he has changed for the better since marriage. Everyone was laughing at my husband at how much of a slob he was when he was single. Jen then pointed at Kyla and said, "You better pay up." Counts you had bet that their marriage would not even last for 2 years. Everyone became silent and started changing the topic. I also did not want to spoil the mood and let it go, but it stuck in my head. After everyone left, I asked my husband what Jen was talking about. He also had noticed Jen saying that and was ready with a full explanation. He told me the story of what happened when we got engaged. When he proposed to me, he had not told his friends that he was going to do that. We went on a trip to Puerto Rico, and he surprised me there. We put our engagement pictures on Instagram while we were on the trip, and it was a big surprise to everyone as we were only dating for 1 year. When he came back and met all his friends, everyone congratulated him. However, Kyla started ranting about how he was a fool to propose so quickly, and she felt that I was not the right girl for him. Seems like she said some unkind things about me, implying I was a gold digger. My husband's family is wealthy, but so is mine. She had said that she bet we would break up within 2 years if we got married. That is why Jen was taunting her about how happy my husband was with me. I was very furious at this point, as I feel this is something he should have told me. I asked him to tell me truthfully if he had ever dated Kyla or had any history with her, as he has always told me that he has never dated anyone from his friend group. He said that he has of course not dated or hooked up with Kyla. However, Kyla had asked him out a few times when they were in college, and he always politely declined. I asked why he said no to her, and he said he just does not have any romantic feelings for her. I can see that because my husband does have a type based on me or the other people he has dated in the past, and Kyla is the opposite of that. I am just mad at her for saying bad things about me, especially after knowing that we were already engaged and betting against my marriage. I told my husband that he needs to minimize contact with Kyla, and she is not invited to parties at our house anymore. He feels I am being too harsh for something she said almost 3 years ago. He also pointed out that she has been very supportive to both of us, and also helped a lot during our wedding arrangements. He feels she is just blunt and forthright when she speaks, but does not mean those things. He told me to take some time and calm down, and we would revisit this topic in a week. He is worried this will completely change the dynamics within his friend group. Am I the for wanting him to block her and stop inviting her to our house? Do you think I am overreacting? I think betting against our marriage and bad-mouthing me behind my back seems like a huge betrayal. I am also mad at my husband that he kept this fact from me, and also never told me that Kyla asked him out during college days. Am I just being crazy and reactive? How would you react in this situation? I don't want to distance my husband from his friends, but I also do not want to see that bitch Kyla's face again. Relevant comments. Commenter, info. How has Kyla acted since the wedding? Has her behavior changed? You describe a bad behavior in the past tense, so one might believe she's not doing those things anymore. Does she still exhibit boundary issues with your husband? Greater than Noob. Yes, her behavior with my husband has not changed at all after marriage. However, she is the same with all other friends too. Greater than with me. She is fake nice, where she acts like we're best friends in front of my husband, and barely talks to me when he is not around. Commenter, What did he think when you told him that she's totally different when he leaves? Greater than noob. He just says she does not know you that well. Just ignore her. Greater than she has never said anything negative to my face. However, as a girl, you just know when someone does not like you. It's hard to explain to him that it's your feeling and not based on anything she has specifically said or done. Commenter on blocking her, especially with the physical contact too. She's so clearly into the husband, and the fact that he's not shutting it down means he likes the extra attention from her. It's one thing to get a friendly hug or maybe an occasional touch on the shoulder from a platonic friend, but shit like playing with his hair, that is 100% flirty behavior, and the fact that he's not shutting it down himself is gross. Greater than noob. I have to reply here. Greater than so. My husband is physically allergic to people touching him. He has a startled response. Either he jerks them away or tenses up when someone hugs him and his face turns red. Greater than the weird thing is he can hug his parents or sister and does not get the reaction. He never had that issue with me, even when we first started dating. However, even if my sister or parents hug him, he gets that response. Greater than so. The fact that he shuts down any touch from Kyle is an understatement. Mini update in comments, July 20th, 2024. Just remembered about my post and logged into the account after many months. Things were really horrible for the last few months, and that bitch Kyla almost ruined my life. I don't even know how to describe it. I might write about it next week as I saw a lot of messages asking for update. I just want other women to be careful of such snakes. Update post, July 24th, 2024. Almost 6 months from odd post. I had post almost 6 months ago regarding my husband's friend Kyla betting that our marriage would not last for more than 2 years. I was upset and had asked my husband to stop talking to her because she disrespected our marriage. Since then, Kyla has pulled some really pathetic shit to stir up issues between my husband and I. After I wrote the post, my husband was trying to convince me that Kyla's was just joking when she made those comments, and it happened so long ago. Kyla messaged me the next day, apologizing me for her comments, and also not making more efforts to connect with me. I accepted her apology and started warming up to her. She started inviting me for brunches and girls' night out with them, and I felt included in their friend group. One day during brunch, I brought up why Kyla really thought our marriage would not work out. Kyla told me that my husband broke up with his long-term ex-girlfriend Joanna 2 months before he started dating me. I knew that part, but Kyla told me that my husband was really heartbroken after the breakup and swore to her that he would stay away from dating anyone. When he met me, my mom set us up on a blind date. She was surprised how quickly we hit it off. Kyla thought that I was his rebound relationship, but when he proposed to me within a year, she was worried that he was making a very rushed decision. My husband's family is rich, and she thought it was unwise for him to marry so quickly without knowing me well. She did not know enough about me, and that my family is also very well off. That is why she was concerned that I was taking advantage of his vulnerable state. She apologized to me and said that it was wrong for her to assume that, and over the years, she has seen how happy we are together. I appreciated her honesty, and Kyla and I became good friends since then and started hanging out more frequently. Around 2 months ago, my husband went for a conference to Seattle for 3 nights. After he came back, I got a "Hey girly" message on Instagram from Joanna, his ex. She told me that my husband contacted her a few months ago, and they met in Seattle during the conference, and she could give me more proof if I wanted. I went through my husband's Instagram, but he seems to have blocked her. I made a mistake of mentioning it to Kyla, as she was the only person honest to me about Joanna, and she went in detective mode to help me. She was still friends with Joanna on Instagram, as they all went to college together, and opened her profile. The message sent to me was from a different profile, with no followers. We checked her photos, and we saw that she attended the same conference as my husband did in Seattle. Kyla suggested I should ask Joanna for more proof, and also ask my husband about the same before assuming the worst. I asked my husband if he met Joanna, and he said yes. He told me he just met her in the expo hall, and chatted with her for a few minutes. I asked him why he did not mention it to me, and he told me it was just a quick conversation, and he did not think too much of it. He asked me how I knew it, and I told him that Kyla mentioned that she saw her pictures at the conference, and I thought he might have seen her. I messaged Joanna again to share more proof. She told me that they have been chatting for the past 2 months, and plan to attend the conference together. She shared a log of their messages, where my husband was actively flirting with her. The screenshots did look legit, but I did not see any of those messages in my husband's Instagram profile. I talked to Kyla about it, as I did not know what to believe. I messaged Joanna to tell us what happened between them, and she told me that he invited her to the room at nights and they hooked up, but she does not have any photos as he insisted. They do not take any pictures together. I immediately realized it was fake and messaged Joanna to fuck off. She kept on insisting they were telling the truth, and she spent the nights with my husband in his room on all free nights. I told her that my husband and I were playing video game Sea of Thieves for almost 2 to 3 hours each night after his dinner, as that is what we do to catch up when he is away. Unless Joanna was sitting behind him watching us play until he fell asleep. She was full of shit. I also told my husband about the whole incident, and he told me I should have come to him sooner. He told me that he has gone no contact with Joanna ever since they broke up, and he just ran into her at the conference. He told me I could check his phone and everything to verify that he has blocked her everywhere. I told him I do not need to, and Joanna might have run into him, and just decided to fuck his life by making up stuff. When all the friends met that weekend, my husband and I told everyone about how Joanna sent messages to me and faked everything. Kyla was also telling what happened as she had told her about it. Kyla accidentally let it slip out that it's luckily we are nerds and played video games at nights before sleeping. Else, props go to Joanna for making up a convincing story. I never told Kyla about the video game stuff. I just told her Joanna is full of shit, and I blocked her. It took me until I came home to connect the dots. I told my husband about it, and he confronted Kyla. She denied it and told him that I told her about the video game stuff on a phone call, but I don't remember doing it. We have since decided to keep our distance from Kyla. Kyla has called me multiple times to meet up, but I just make up reasons that I am busy. I do not know why she did it, but at this point, I am not interested in it, and we have decided to just see her on social occasions and avoid hanging out with her as much as possible. I feel stupid that she played me for a fool, and I should have not gone to her when Joanna started messaging me. In hindsight, it seems suspicious that Kyla started telling me about Joanna, and at the same time, Joanna claimed to have an affair with my husband. I do not know what her intentions are, but I am mad enough that I will avoid her as much as possible. I wish I had some real proof that she was the one messaging me, so that I could expose her. I also feel bad for suspecting my husband, but I am glad my husband and I are on the same page now. Relevant comments. Commenter, does your husband also believe that Kyla made up a fake Instagram account, pretending to be Joanna? Because that's pretty psycho behavior. Greater than noob. Yes, he believes me because I told him that I never told Kyla why I thought the account was fake. It's possible she guessed it if I ever mentioned to her that we play video games at night, but seems suspicious she would guess that was exactly the reason why I realized the account was fake. Commenter, why didn't you try to message her real Insta, since you knew the one she used to message you wasn't her main? Why not message her main account? That would have cleared it up pretty quick, I would think. Greater than noob, her Instagram was private. I did not want to follow her, as it would have looked really bad for me to add her when my husband has blocked her. The only way I could see her Instagram was when Kyla showed it to me on her phone. Greater than to another commenter. Trust me, I thought about this. Firstly, I will look crazy if I reach out to Joanna, my husband's ex, behind his back. Secondly, even if it was her messaging me, she would just lie and tell me it was not her. I also cannot disregard the fact that I started getting messages a week after my husband ran into her and told her that he was happily married to me. Greater than I have to accept is Kyla. If it was her, we'll get away with the BS. We do not have any proof it was her, and all we could do is distance ourselves from her. Commenter, why did you lie to your husband about the fact that this woman had messaged you in the first place? You are the problem here. Greater than you, agree. Should have told him right away. Greater than I tried to be sneaky to know if he really met her at the conference. I was half expecting him to deny it if he was trying to hide something happened. I think I let my insecurity get the worst of me. Lessons learned. Commenter, did he bring a gaming PC or Xbox with him to a work conference? Well, greater than oop, we both use Steam Decks to play games together when he is away. My husband is cheating me with his brother. My 27F husband 24 Ms is cheating me with his brother. July 25, 2020. English isn't my first language, so sorry for any mistakes. Obviously this is a throwaway. Okay, so, this sounds crazy, and I know it, but let me explain. The last 24 hours or so have been pure hell for me, and I'm tired, and I cry constantly. As background, we've been married for 5 years, together for 8, been in an open relationship for 3 years. We're both bisexual, and I'm more than happy that he can explore that side of him with other men, as I'm able to do the same with women. We have rules, though. We've agreed that we're gonna tell each other when we hook up with people. So, my husband has an older brother, Marcus, who turned 32 during my absence. They were planning on celebrating together and having funny drinking, which was fine with me. I wish them a happy time and hope they have fun. To the story. A week ago, I drove several hours to see my sick mother to Kortrijk. I left my husband home, as he's working from home, and couldn't come with me. Also my mother dislikes him, as he's a foreigner. I texted Marcus to wish him a happy birthday, and he didn't reply. I thought he was out drinking and didn't think much of it. But I came back a day earlier yesterday than was planned, and I was going to surprise my husband. I entered our house, and I heard noises, sex noises. I was confused, because my husband hadn't told me that he was going to see someone. I kind of brushed it off, thinking it was just him pleasuring himself and watching porn. All's good. 20 to 30 minutes later my husband comes downstairs, sees me, and goes pale. I mean, white as a ghost. He stares at me, stammers, and looks guilty. At that point I'm like, there's something up. Not 2 minutes later his brother comes downstairs, and he has a hickey, well, several, on his neck. He greets me, stiffly, says that he gotta run back home to his girlfriend. My husband doesn't acknowledge Marcus leaving, when usually they hug and linger. They're very close. Have always been, ever since I met my husband about 10 years ago. What was that about? I ask my husband. He's very evasive, dodges the question and says that they had a row. I press on the matter, asking what they fought about. Nothing, he tells me, now irritated. I kept pressing and pressing. He finally relents, saying that Marcus cheated on his girlfriend, and that the woman he cheated with escaped via window. We have a one-story house, so kind of plausible. When they heard my car, I was suspicious, but I assumed that he was lying about the car thing and he'd seen divided. But I heard me in the house, and alerted his brother and his mistress. Marcus cheating on his girlfriend is not fine with me. His girlfriend is my friend too, and she's amazing, working the front lines of this fucking COVID pandemic. My husband tells me he has to do some work and that he has a client, which was actually true, so he wasn't lying about that. I was still a bit weirded out by the whole thing. Marcus lives alone, so why was he hooking up with some random woman in our home? Later last night, I feel like something is off. Normally my husband would be very excited that I'm home, and every time I've been somewhere, he's been very romantic and initiated sex. Now nothing. He's very quiet, reserved and nervous. When my husband takes a shower, I went after him to wash my face and notice that he had hickeys on his chest that he tried to cover up when he saw me. I feel sick to my stomach and decided to go through his phone. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't have done that. I was 100% sure he had a guy over too. I am still reading the conversations between him and his brother when my husband comes from shower. The conversations are explicit. The reality hit me like a ton of bricks. I ask my husband what's going on, and that why is he flirting with Marcus. He tells me it was a joke, just joking between brothers, and it sometimes goes too far. I didn't buy it. I went to sleep because I was exhausted from the trip. I was woken in the middle of the night by my husband crying his eyes out in our living room, so I went to ask what was wrong, and he told me everything. How he has a on-off relationship with his brother. They started having sex over 10 years ago. First it was mutual masturbation, and then it just escalated into sex. He says it was because of their religious upbringing, and that he knew nothing about sex or sexuality until we started dating. My husband or Marcus are not in contact with their parents. They had a falling out about 6 years ago, and I was told it was because Marcus was dating a POC back then. Well, now I'm thinking they got caught and that's why their parents disowned them. Now I haven't slept since the night and I don't know what to do. I can't look at my husband, and I don't know if I should tell Marcus's girlfriend about all this, or what. I want to leave my husband, but at the same time I don't. Should I contact their parents and ask what really happened 6 years ago? Is this something a therapist could handle? Is our relationship solvable? Cheating is not something I'd break up over, but I can't shake the slimy feeling I have. My husband had sex with his brother, and yes, they have the same parents, so they're not stepbrothers or anything. Of course I've been thinking about the relationship my husband and Marcus had when they were younger. Like I said, they have always been very, very close, but I should have seen the red flags. I should have known. Something weird happened just before we started dating, and now I'm thinking it wasn't as innocent as it seemed back then. I'm lost. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I can't talk about this to my friends or my parents. I'm starting to think about killing myself, so I wouldn't feel this way. Additional information from Vogue. Comment. 1. I am making one small update now and I'll return sometime tomorrow. A few things has happened now. I asked Marcus's girlfriend to come and see me later today. It's nearly 1 a.m. here currently. She agreed and said, I think I know what's going on. 3. My husband said he's not coming home. He tells me he's at a friend's house, but I know he's not there because I contacted said friend. I'm assuming he's at Marcus's place. I'll contact a therapist first thing Monday. I have written an email, and I'll send it early Monday morning. My husband told me a bit more, but he claims it all started from him. I don't believe it. I think he's lying to protect his brother. Marcus left me a voicemail saying that he can explain the situation. He did explain it, telling that it was this one time only, but he didn't know that my husband had already told me that it has been going on over 10 years. It all started when my husband had just turned 13 and come out as bi. I feel very sad and angry. I almost drove to Marcus's house because I wanted to yell at him. For those claiming my husband is gay, it's not true. He came out before anything sexual happened with Marcus. I texted their parents and said I wanted to talk with them and said that something bad happened, but their boys are all right. I'm not all right. I asked a friend to come to our house an hour ago, and I showed this post to her. She's very angry and says that we have to get my husband to therapy like some of you kind souls told me. Thank you everyone. I'll answer to your comments when I've rested. I need sleep and food. Relevant comments. Deleted over 10 years ago. So your husband was 13, and his brother over 20. That is a huge red flag. 20-somethings are not supposed to have sex with 13-year-old kids. No way in hell. Are you divided by your husband? Sure, it has always been consensual. Greater than Oop. I didn't even think about this. I don't know what to think anymore. I agree that the age gap is a huge issue. Well, I think I have to talk with my husband when he comes back home. I don't know where he is. I'm assuming at Marcus's apartment. Oop on if they have kids with their husband. Greater than Oop. We don't have kids. Thankfully. Greater than I feel stupid for being the most hurt about the lying. I still am not sure if I should tell Marcus's girlfriend. October 10th, 2022. 5 months later. First of all, thank you everyone for your comments. Second, I'm sorry this took so long. I have been extremely depressed lately, unable to even go to work. I was laid off due to COVID, although I know it's because of this situation. Late July, after I posted my original post, I contacted a therapist and got a treatment for my husband. I decided not to file for divorce. I also told Marcus's girlfriend what had happened. She knew already, which was such a betrayal in my opinion. We are no longer friends and I haven't seen Marcus since July. Unfortunately, in the middle of August my husband committed suicide. I am writing this, depressed, lonely and so angry. Law is clear on situations like this. Consensual incest is okay, so there's nothing I can do anymore. My husband died, and his secrets and the truth died with him. There's no evidence that Marcus ever raped him, even though that is what my husband told me. He didn't get a chance to tell his therapist. I'm alone, so alone. All my friends have left me because they think this was somehow my fault. My husband's parents are not happy. I wrote in my previous post that I was thinking my husband and Marcus got caught. They did. Their parents told me as much. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for the kind words and support I got. I wish things had gone differently. Comments. SATURNBABY to 1. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. I cannot begin to imagine what you're going through. Please continue to seek therapy if you're not already. You shouldn't have to try to handle this trauma on your own. Deleted. Jesus. What a tragic ending. Such a young boy took his own life. He had so much life ahead. Holy fuck, that is so tragic and sad. This whole situation is over everyone's head. You need help. I am very sorry for this. Marcus and your husband had some secrets that won't see a daylight anymore. This is so creepy, tragic and sad. I am very sorry. November 9th, 2023. 3 years later. July 2020. Seems so far away now, after everything. August 2020 is when my husband unfortunately decided to end his life. October 2020 is when I last wrote an update. It's been well over 3 years now, but after all this time, the grief remains. I miss my husband dearly, and I am devastated that he isn't here anymore. I have now moved far away from everyone. I'm living in a different country now. I am happy. I guess things could be worse. I'd like to thank everyone who contributed to my initial post. I am now in a better place, for sure, but I still miss my husband every day. His smile, his laughter, his kindness. A lot has happened after my last post. Mainly, Marcus is now dead too. He was drunk, went for a drive and drove himself into a tree. I was, and I am, sort of happy about that, even though I guess I shouldn't. I have my suspicions that he aimed for a tree on purpose. Can't say for sure, but that's what I think. Anyway, I will never return to this account. Therapy has helped me, but not enough. I am scarred by what happened, and I'd like to spend the rest of my life away from this horrid thing. When I die, I'll be able to see my husband again. I hope he's waiting for me on the other side. Once again, thank you everyone. It's time for me to finally move forward. AITAH for kicking my best friend out of my wedding because she wore white. So here's the situation. I 28F am getting married in a month to the love of my life. Jake 30 Ms. We've been planning this wedding for over a year. and I've been super clear that I expect everyone to respect the dress code, which includes no white attire. My best friend, Sarah Tanai F., has always been a bit of a drama queen. She's attention-seeking and often steals the spotlight. So I was really nervous about her being a bridesmaid. I thought I'd give her a chance, but last weekend, we went dress shopping together, and guess what? Sarah shows up wearing a white dress. It wasn't even close to my color scheme. It was a full-on bridal gown. When I asked her why she thought that was okay, she laughed it off and said, "It's just a dress. People will be focused on you." Not wanting to ruin the day, I suggested she wear one of the other dresses we had picked out, but she stubbornly refused, insisting that the white dress was the only one that made her feel like a queen. At this point, I was fuming. Every bride wants to shine on her special day, right? So, I decided to stand my ground and told her she couldn't wear it. Fast forward to yesterday, I finally snapped and uninvited her to the wedding. I told her I couldn't have someone who disrespects me in my day, in such a massive way standing next to me. She started crying and saying I was overreacting, but honestly, I feel like I'm the one who deserves a little respect here. How can I get married when my best friend is trying to upstage me wearing white like she's the bride? Now, some mutual friends are calling me the bridezilla and saying I'm going too far, but I just want my wedding to be perfect without any unnecessary drama. AITAH for kicking her out of my wedding for wearing white. AITAH for considering breaking up with my fiancé because I found out that she got the ick when I cried last year. My fiancé to 6F and I 26 Ms have been dating for 7 years, and we got engaged last month. I found out something recently, however, which makes me very sad. For some backstory, I was going through a stressful time last year with work and I was feeling overwhelmed. Looking back, I think I was just overreacting, but during that phase, I just don't know what was happening to me mentally. Then one night, I just started crying randomly for no reason. My fiancé was surprised, but she comforted me, and she asked me what it was about, and I told her it was life in general. The week after I cried, I actually got a promotion at work, and I realized I was just overthinking everything and that things were actually fine. Mentally, I started feeling much better and things were back to normal. But I heard something last week which genuinely hurt me. My fiancé's best friend Ellie also got recently engaged. Ellie is also very close friends with my sister, but my sister and my fiancé aren't really friends or buddies. Last week, my sister called me and told me something she'd heard from Ellie which she wanted to share with me. What happened was that Ellie and my fiancé were talking about green flags and what they love about their fiancés and what they could potentially be better at. And my fiancé had joked about me crying last year and that she found that ick. Ellie found that very funny and then shared it with my sister. My sister told me she didn't think it was funny at all, but just carried on with the conversation and pretended everything was normal, but she wanted to share this with me. I then asked my fiancé about it, and my fiancé seemed a bit nervous, but she admitted that she had said that but that she was just joking and didn't mean it. I told her I needed some space, and my fiancé started crying and told me she was just joking about it, and that she loved that I was comfortable expressing my emotions to her. The thing is, I don't really believe my fiancé, and I feel really sad and hurt that she found my crying an ick, and that she joked about it with her friend. AITAH for considering breaking up with my fiancé.